Hello, I'm doing a movie review, and the movie I want to review is Puppet Master 2, which I have on the Puppet Master collection. Now, Puppet Master 2 was released in 1991, and this, of course, is a sequel to Puppet Master. Now, I'm going to admit, when I first saw this movie, I didn't really care for it very much, but watching it again, I actually do enjoy the film. Now, in the first Puppet Master movie, the acting was actually pretty good in the first movie. In this movie, the acting isn't quite as good, but I'm not going to fault it too much on that. I mean, it is a B movie, so it's pretty much like B movie acting, which I really don't mind that much. This movie, I'm not really sure why I didn't like it when I first saw it. I mean, I still have a few problems with the movie, but my problems with the movie are really just nitpicks. Now, the plot of Puppet Master 2 is it takes place sometime after the events of the first one, and what happens is, in the beginning of the movie, you see the puppets actually digging up a grave, and it turns out that it's the grave of Andre Toulon, who is the man who made the puppets and gave them life, and you saw Andre Toulon kill himself in the beginning of the first movie. What happens is they dig up his grave and then they pour this potion into the grave, and the potion actually brings Andre Toulon back from the dead as a zombie. What happens is it then jumps ahead to a few months later, and the movie starts following a group of paranormal investigators who are going into the Bodega Bay Inn, which is the hotel that the first movie took place at, and what happens is you find out that Megan Gallagher, who was a character from the first movie, was murdered, and you find out that Alex, who was a character from the first movie, went insane, and so now these paranormal investigators are trying to see if there was something supernatural in the hotel which may have caused the character of Alex to go insane. So what happens is it turns out that Andre Toulon is now back from the dead, and he's now controlling the puppets, and he's getting the puppets to go out and kill people and take their brain matter, but I don't want to give away why he needs their brain matter. But in the movie, Toulon is pretty much the villain of the movie, and what happens is one of these paranormal investigators is, as it turns out, the reincarnation of Toulon's wife. Puppet Master 2 is a decent sequel. There's a few things I do like about it, some of the gore effects in the movie are pretty good, but what I don't really care for about the movie, and this isn't necessarily the movie's fault, it's really the fault of some of the sequels that followed it, is I'm not really sure how I feel about Toulon being the villain of the movie, because, in this movie, Toulon is a complete asshole. He's batshit crazy, but, the third Puppet Master movie, Puppet Master 3, is actually a prequel to the first two movies, and in the third movie, Toulon is the hero, and he's actually a really awesome character in the third movie, so if you watch the third movie, it's I'm not sure if I like the idea that the Toulon of the third movie would eventually become the Toulon of this movie, so then again, it's not really the movie's fault, because this was before Puppet Master 3, even though this did come out the same year as Puppet Master 3, so they must have, made the two movies back to back, also, there's a brief flashback sequence in the movie where you find out how Toulon got the power to bring the puppets to life, but that flashback sequence is kind of contradicted in some of the later sequels. I have a few minor nitpicks about the movie, but overall, it's not a bad sequel. I would definitely recommend it. Now, in the movie, you get a new puppet. In the first movie, the puppets were Blade, who is this puppet with a hook for one hand and a knife for the other. You had a puppet named Tunneler, who was a puppet with a drill for a head. You had a puppet named Pinhead, and you had a puppet named Leech Woman, who is a female puppet that vomited leeches, and then you had a puppet named Jester, but in this movie you get a new puppet named Torch, who is a metal puppet with a flamethrower for a hand, who is actually a pretty cool character. And there's actually a scene in this movie where Torch actually, or at least it's implied, you don't actually see it, but it seems like Torch actually kills a little kid in the movie. But but Puppet Master 2, I would definitely recommend it. It does seem like, though, that a lot of the sequels that followed this almost seem to ignore this one, because, like I said, in the sequels that followed this, Too Long is actually a good guy in all the sequels that followed this. But yeah, that's my review on Puppet Master 2, and bye.